Imagine you're standing on a windy coast. You smell salt in the air. Waves hit the rocks. In front of you is a small inn with creaking wooden doors. Tonight, a stranger is coming and your English is about to get stronger. Welcome to English Listening Podcast 365. I'm Emma Lane, and today you'll learn English through a classic adventure, Treasure Island. Don't worry, we're using a short, simple version made for learners. First, I'll tell you the story slowly. Then we'll learn the most useful words and phrases. Finally, you'll practice shadowing speaking out loud with me to boost your fluency and confidence. As you listen, focus on 3 things: understanding the main idea, noticing new vocabulary, and speaking with rhythm. If a sentence feels fast, pause. If a word is new, repeat it. If you want to remember more, write it down. Small steps. Clear progress. In today's story, you'll meet Jim Hawkins, a curious boy who lives at an inn by the sea. Life is quiet until a rough old sailor with a scar arrives. He drinks too much, sings pirate songs, and watches the water every morning with a telescope. He is afraid of one thing: a sailor with one leg. Why? We'll find out soon. Ready? Sit comfortably. Breathe in, breathe out. Let the English wash over you like the tide. Listen for meaning, not perfection. When you hear a phrase you like, say it with me. This is your time to grow. Let's begin. Close your eyes and picture a small inn by the sea. Wooden beams dark with salt and wind, lanterns glowing in the evening. This is the Admiral Benbow, and it is where young Jim Hawkins lives with his mother. Their days are steady and simple. Sweeping floors, serving hot stew, listening to gulls and waves, watching fishermen mend their nets. Travelers come and go, but only a few, and they speak softly after long days. Nothing dramatic happens here, and that is exactly why the family feels safe. Jim helps with chores, dreams about distant ships, and keeps a quiet heart. The village itself moves at a gentle rhythm. Tides rise, tides fall, boats leave, boats return. Yet underneath this calm surface, the world is wider than Jim knows. Change is already on the wind, and soon a single stranger will turn this quiet coastline into the start of an adventure. A tall stranger pushes open the door of the Admiral Benbow, and the room falls quiet. His coat is salt-stained, his beard rough, and a pale scar runs like a rope across his cheek. He walks with the rolling balance of the sea, orders rum in a hard voice, and scans every face as if danger sits in the shadows. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this moment is where our calm story sharpens. The sailor pays for a small room and few words, spending his mornings on the cliff with a brass telescope, watching the horizon like a hunter. He sings broken pirate songs at night, low and fierce, and the guests drift to their beds early, uneasy. Jim Hawkins notices everything: the man's heavy chest, his sudden flinches, the way he freezes at the slam of a door. One evening, the stranger leans close and whispers a warning: keep an eye out for a sailor with one leg. Each month, he drops a silver coin in Jim's hand for silence and vigilance. Why one leg? Why the fear? Those questions sit between the clink of bottles and the creak of wood. The inn remains the same place, but the air has changed. The waves sound colder, the wind sharper. In language terms, listen for rough, scar, nervous, and keep an eye out. These words carry the mood of danger. A story is turning, and Jim is already standing on the edge of it. Right now, night falls, and the inn's door opens to a blind man with a crooked stick tapping the floor. His name is Pew, and his voice is thin and icy. He grips Jim's hand with surprising strength, demands to be led to the rough sailor upstairs, and presses a small round paper into Billy's palm. The black spot, a pirate verdict of doom. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this is the moment fear becomes action. Billy stares, goes pale, and gasps. Within minutes, under the weight of rum and terror, his heart simply gives out. The room falls still. After calling for help and wading through the chaos, Jim and his mother unlock Billy's sea chest to collect the money he owes for lodging. Inside, they find coins from many countries, glittering like cold moons, a few trinkets, and, wrapped in oilcloth, a folded map marked with a red X and cryptic notes about bearings, trees, and a tall hill. The name that chills them is Captain Flint, the infamous pirate whose horde has lured killers for years. Footsteps in the lane warn them that more men are coming, so Jim snatches the map and escapes to safety. At daybreak, he brings it to two trusted adults, Dr. Livesey, calm and clever, and Squire Trelawney, rich, eager, and generous. Livesey studies the lines, measuring distance and risk. The squire claps with delight and promises a stout ship, good men, and clean provisions. Together they decide on a lawful expedition. Find the island, secure the treasure, and return honorably. For your English, notice these key phrases. The black spot went pale, collapsed, his heart gave out, sea chest, oilcloth, bearings, and hoard. Each phrase carries weight, building the bridge from quiet fear to bold resolve. Ahead lies hiring a captain, a crew, and a perilous sea. Voyage awaits. At sunrise, the plan becomes real. Squire Trelawney moves fast, hiring shipwrights, ordering barrels of fresh water, flour, salted beef, and limes, while Dr. Livesey checks lists and warns against careless talk. The chosen vessel is the Hispaniola, lean and sturdy at anchor, her rigging humming like harp strings in the sea breeze. The squire secures a captain, with a reputation for order. Captain Smollett, strict but fair, a man who measures words like coins. He inspects every spar and sail, marks the powder kegs, and posts clear rules. No drunkenness, no lazy watches, no secrets below deck. Jim Hawkins, bright-eyed and restless, is taken on as a cabin boy. He learns knots, swabbing, and how to coil rope neatly. He learns to say, "Aye, sir," not "yeah." The crew loads casks, checks the compass, and studies charts with bearings and soundings. The harbor smells of tar and oranges, gulls wheel and cry. There is excitement, but also tension, because a voyage is both adventure and risk. Vocabulary to notice: provisions, crew, captain, strict, fair, deck, rigging, compass, chart, bearings, soundings, anchor, and discipline. Try shadowing these short lines. We prepared the ship. The captain was strict but fair. Jim joined as a cabin boy. The Hispaniola was ready to sail. With a final list reviewed and the tide turning, the lines are cast off, the sails belly with wind, and the voyage begins in earnest for all aboard today. Enter Long John Silver, the ship's cook, quick on a wooden crutch, smiling as if the sea itself told him jokes. He serves stew, remembers names, and tells salty stories that make hard men laugh. A green parrot clings to his shoulder, squawking, "Pieces of 8, pieces of 8. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this is the moment charm arrives dressed as courage. Silver moves easily, light on one leg, sharp in mind, generous with praise. Jim feels safe around him, everyone does, because Silver listens, notices, and helps before being asked. Yet tiny clues whisper caution: a glance held too long, a question asked twice, a grin that doesn't reach the eyes. File these details. They will matter soon for you. One afternoon, Jim slips into an apple barrel to hide from chores in the ship's heat. Through the wood, he hears Long John Silver's low voice weaving a net of plans. Wait for the treasure, strike at the right moment, take over the Hispaniola, leave no witnesses who might talk. Names are whispered, loyalties weighed, knives pictured. Jim holds his breath, heart hammering like rigging in wind, and learns the smiling cook is a pirate captain. When the deck grows quiet, he hurries to Captain Smollett, Dr. Livesey, and the squire. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this is where caution becomes strategy. The loyal men arm quietly, share watches, hide the map's truth, and prepare for mutiny at dawn together. Dawn lifts like a pale curtain, and Treasure Island rises from the sea, green, silent, and watchful, with hills like sleeping beasts and a fringe of white surf marking its teeth. The Hispaniola drops anchor and longboats scrape the water. The crew stare, each man imagining gold under every tree. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this landfall is where the story deepens your English with place words and mood. The air smells of sap and salt, gulls wheel, the forest stands tight with vines, roots, and shadows. Captain Smollett keeps order, but Silver smiles too widely, offering to guide a shore party at once. Jim Hawkins, restless and bright, gets permission to touch land. The moment his boots meet sand, the island's quiet seems to lean in. He follows a narrow path, listening to the buzz of insects and the sudden crack of a twig, and soon the voices of the shore party fade. Alone now, he climbs a low ridge and looks out. A swamp glitters, a tall hill points like a finger at the sky, and birds explode from a thicket as if chased by ghosts. A cry startles him, a human voice, thin with hope, and from the tree steps a ragged man with sunburned skin and a beard like dry grass. "Ben Gunn," he says, tapping his chest, eyes bright and hungry. He smells of smoke and goats. His clothes are stitched from old sails. His manners jump between polite and desperate. Ben speaks quickly, telling Jim he was marooned here 3 years ago by pirates after a failed hunt for Captain Flint's treasure. He has lived on berries, fish, and goat's milk, and the sound of his own voice. Then he leans close and lowers the secret that tilts the world. He has already found the treasure and hidden it in a safe place. His price is simple, almost childlike: take him home, give him a small share, a little cheese if possible. Jim's heart thunders. On the beach, the pirates still believe the map will lead them straight to gold, but the truth has shifted inland, into caves and cunning. For your English, notice these words and phrases: landfall, anchor, shore party, thicket, marooned, ragged, horse, hideout, and safe place. Each one paints the island's danger and promise. With this new ally, the game changes. The map is no longer a guide but a trap, and every step under the trees is a strategy. Back on the beach, Silver tightens his grip on the crew, and by sunset the pirates seize the Hispaniola and demand the map. Captain Smollett leads the loyal hands inland to an old wooden stockade, a rough house with a fence of logs and firing slits. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this is the clash between patience and greed. The pirates advance with muskets and cutlasses, shouting for surrender. Shots crack, splinters jump, smoke thickens. Inside, Livesey loads carefully. Trelawney aims true, and Jim runs powder and water, brave and breathless. Waves boom beyond the trees while the gate holds. A flag of the Union snaps above the roof, answering the skull flags below. At dusk, the attackers fall back, and the defenders count losses and prepare for another grim assault. Night brings a hard tide and a hidden chance. Jim finds a small round boat, a coracle pulled among the reeds, and pushes off into the dark. The Hispaniola drifts with slack sails, creaking like a whisper. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this is the chapter where courage rose quietly. Jim bumps the hull, climbs aboard, and meets a desperate pirate on deck. The fight is close, breath and blade. Jim slips, faints, and wins by grit, not strength. He lashes the wheel, trims the sails, and works the anchor, setting the ship safe from the mutineers. Dawn thins the sky. Exhausted but fierce, Jim lowers the boat again and returns to the island, salt in his mouth and triumph in his chest, ready to face friends, questions, and the next move ahead. At first light, the pirates march inland with shovels, pistols, and fever in their eyes, following the map like moths to a lantern. They reach the marked trees, read the bearings, and tear at the earth until the pit yawns wide and empty, only a few coins glinting like cruel jokes at the bottom. A roar of rage climbs through the leaves. Long John Silver stiffens, measuring his men and the danger as quickly as a captain reading the weather. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this is the turning point where greed meets truth. Jim Hawkins, hidden with the loyal party nearby, sees the moment break. Some pirates accuse Silver of trickery, others shout about Flint's ghost, and the hottest tempers raise blades against the one-legged cook. Silver moves with that cold, clever charm. He talks, he promises. He reminds them who kept them alive, and for a breath he seems safe. Then shots crack from the trees. Doctor, Livesey, Squire Trelawney, and the loyal hands fire with discipline, not fury. Smoke drifts. Men scatter. 2 pirates fall. The rest run like startled boar through the brush. Silver shouts to Jim, throws down his pistol, and surrenders where the ferns are wet with mist. Livesey binds, wounds, sets watches, and leads the group by a secret path to Ben Gunn's cave, where the island opens its true mouth. The treasure lies there already, stacked in dull mountains, chests of gold, bags of coins, plates, jewels like cold fruit in the dark. Ben Gunn, grinning, explains how he found the hoard years ago and hauled it here in many lonely trips, praying no ship would come until he had the strength to claim a safe ride home. The loyal men laugh, then fall silent with awe. They have won, but the work begins. Day after day, they move the treasure in careful loads down to the hidden anchorage where the Hispaniola waits, trimmed and ready, because Jim's courage bought them time. Silver helps with smooth efficiency, praising, lifting, never complaining. And for a while, he looks almost honest. Yet everyone keeps an eye out. A fox does not become a dog because he carries a bone. A few pirates are still at large, gaunt shadows in the trees, and the party avoids a final fight because the island itself is a prison for the faithless. When the last chest is aboard and provisions are counted, the sails climb, the anchor rises, and the ship turns her face toward England. Night brings slow winds and the creak of ropes, and on deck the men speak softly, half from joy and half from relief. Then one morning, a simple truth is discovered. Long John Silver is gone. He slipped away in the dark with a small bag of coins, no more than a thief's farewell gift to himself, and left behind his parrot, and a silence that tastes like salt and irony. Jim feels a mix of anger and respect. The man was dangerous, false, and brave, and perhaps the sea itself let him go. The voyage home is steady. Dr. Livesey keeps men healthy, the squire keeps accounts, and Jim keeps a journal with clear, plain lines, trying to catch the size of what has happened, without losing the shape of who he is. In language terms, note these words: pit, bearings, scatter, surrender, hoard, haul, anchorage, provisions, creek, and relief. They help you tell a big story with precise details. When the Hispaniola reaches port, the world feels smaller, safer, and also new. Rewards are divided fairly. Ben Gunn gets a share and spends it quickly on comfort, then returns to quiet work and simpler food. Jim walks the streets and hears ordinary sounds, horses, bells, footsteps, and understands that adventure has a cost and a gift. He is richer, yes, but more importantly, he is older in the right way. Braver, kinder, and less easily fooled. The map is folded away, the island slides back into rumor, and the lesson remains like a compass in his pocket guard. Your friends, trust carefully, and remember that true treasure is the person you become when the storm has passed. I'm Emma Lane from English Listening Podcast 365, and this final segment turns the whole Treasure Island adventure into a powerhouse vocabulary workshop with shadowing, so your English grows stronger, smoother, and more confident with every breath. Imagine we are sitting by the sea, note-taking pen in hand, and each word is a bright coin you drop into your personal treasure chest. We move step by step, simple définition, natural example, then shadowing lines you can echo right away. Remember to keep your jaw loose, your breath steady, and your rhythm clear, because English lives in stress and timing. First, by the sea, which means near the ocean or beside the coast, and it carries salt, wind, gulls, and open sky. Example: they built a small cottage by the sea, and every morning they opened the windows to listen to the boats. Shadow: we live by the sea. The inn stood by the sea. I sleep well by the sea. Listen to how by the links, like by the light and quick. Next, inn. A small, often old and cozy hotel. Example: we stayed at a little inn during our road trip and ate hot soup by the fire. Shadow: let's rest at an inn. The inn felt warm. Our inn was quiet. Keep the end sound crisp, at the end of inn. Now, rough, describing someone or something tough, wild, or not neat. Example: the sailor looked rough after weeks at sea. Shadow: he looked rough and tired. The sea is rough today. Her voice sounded rough. And notice how finishes the word cleanly. Scar. A mark left after the skin heals. Example. She has a small scar on her knee from a fall. Shadow. He has a scar on his face. The old scar faded. I touched the scar gently. With a soft, short A. Nervous, meaning worried or afraid something bad might happen. Example. I feel nervous before speaking in public. Shadow. Jim felt nervous. She is nervous today. Don't be nervous now. Hear the stress on ner. Let the rest relax. Watching for someone. Which means waiting and looking carefully. Example. He stood at the window watching for his friends. Shadow. I am watching for you. They were watching for danger. We kept watching for help and connect for smoothly. Now, keep an eye out, meaning stay alert. Example, keep an eye out for your phone. Shadow, keep an eye out for trouble. Keep an eye out for rain. Keep an eye out for news. And feel the rhythm. Keep an eye out. Pale. Skin very white from fear or sickness. Example, she went pale when she heard the bad news. Shadow, he looked pale. You are pale today. The light made him pale. Let pale carry a long vowel. Collapse, to fall down suddenly. Example, he collapsed after the race. Shadow, he collapsed on the floor. The tunnel collapsed. Don't collapse from heat. Keeping the finals sharp. His heart gave out, meaning it stopped working, often from shock. Example, he was so scared his heart simply gave out. Shadow, his heart gave out, the old man's heart gave out. Her heart nearly gave out, and note how gave out flows like one unit. Adventure, an exciting experience that teaches you something. Example, climbing the mountain was a big adventure. Shadow, that was a great adventure. We need an adventure. Our trip became an adventure, with clear stress on ven. Voyage, a long trip by ship. Example, the voyage took many weeks. Shadow, we went on a long voyage. The voyage began at dawn. Their voyage ended safely, and keep voy rounded and open. Strict, someone who follows rules exactly. Example, our teacher is strict but fair. Shadow, the captain was strict but fair. My coach is strict. We have strict rules. Finishing the final T, the phrase, take over the ship, meaning seize control. Example, the pirates tried to take over the ship. Shadow, they will take over the ship. Do not take over the ship. He planned to take over the ship. And notice how take over links, right away, meaning immediately. Example, come here right away. Shadow, do it right away. We left right away. Call me right away. Stressing, away. Finally, walked off, meaning left quietly. Example, he didn't answer, he just walked off. Shadow, Jim walked off into the forest. She walked off without a word. They walked off together, and keep the ed in walked as a T sound. Now let's practice technique. So these words become automatic. First, chunking, which means breaking a sentence into small musical groups. Try, we lived by the sea, and the captain was strict but fair. Feeling a micro pause between chunks. Second, linking, which joins consonants to vowels across word borders, like by, the, give, out, right away. Third, stress, which pushes energy into key words. Say, adventure, voyage, strict but fair, and let unimportant words shrink. Fourth, breath timing, where you inhale once at the start of a phrase and ride the air, finishing cleanly without rushing the last word. Fifth, mouth shape. Open more than you think for clear vowels and close gently for final consonants, so endings do not vanish. Quick drill. In, on, an. Feel the differences. Listening drill. Pick one sentence. For example, he looked rough and tired. Play it 3 times. then shadow 3 times, then record yourself once, and listen back while tapping the stress on rough and tired. Memory drill. Write a tiny story that uses 5 target items, like by the sea, in, rough, nervous, and adventure. For example, I worked at a small inn by the sea. One rough night I felt nervous, but the storm became an adventure. Then speak it aloud. Next, transformation practice to make vocabulary flexible. Change tenses and subjects. Start from, he looked rough and tired. Then say, she looks rough and tired. They will look rough and tired. We looked rough and tired after the hike. And finally, if you do not rest, you might look rough and tired. Do the same with right away. Moving from, come here right away, to, I came right away. We will start right away. They are starting right away. And if it rains, we must leave right away. For, keep an eye out, practice intentions. Keep an eye out for mistakes. I will keep an eye out for you. We are keeping an eye out for a taxi. They kept an eye out for storms. Please keep an eye out for scams online. Rhythm drill with a metronome or finger tap. Set a slow beat and say, we went on a long voyage. 1 word per beat, then 2 words per beat. We went on a long voyage, then back to normal, clarity drill for endings. Say pale, pale, pay. Then collapse, collapse, quickly, collapse quietly, making sure the final S is present. Courage drill for public speaking. Stand, breathe in for 4, out for 6, relax your shoulders, and deliver 3 lines. That was a great adventure. The captain was strict but fair. Come here right away, looking at an imaginary listener and smiling on the last vowel. Next, connect meaning to feeling so your memory sticks. Picture the inn as warm light, the sea as cool air, the scar as a thin pale line, the nervous moment as a tight chest that opens after a breath, the adventure as a path that bends out of sight. The more senses you attach, the deeper the word stays. Now, a fast review of micro-pronunciation points. Scar has a clean ska sound at the start. Rough ends with an F, even though it looks like uff. Pale carries a long A that should not slide into pel. Voyage starts with a clear voy, not boy. Strict needs the K and T at the end, even if the T becomes soft in fast speech. For phrases, take over the ship, connects like take over the ship, and walked off. Ends with a T that touches the next vowel softly. For everyday transfer, make bridges from story world to your world. By the sea becomes by the river. By the park, by the station. Inn becomes hostel, guest house, or homestay. Adventure becomes project, journey, semester abroad. Strict can describe a boss, a plan, or a diet. Right away helps in emails and customer service. Build 5 personal sentences that match your life and speak them once in the morning and once at night for a week. Quick self-test. Define pale without using the word white. Explain keep an eye out. To a 10-year-old, give 2 examples of walked off, in different emotions, angry and shy. Next, a short story for shadowing packed with targets. At a small inn by the sea, the air smelled clean. A rough sailor with a scar arrived, and the owner felt nervous. He kept watching for someone and told us to keep an eye out for trouble. One guest went pale during the storm and nearly collapsed, but his heart did not give out. Our quiet trip turned into an adventure, and soon we planned a voyage to the islands. The captain was strict but fair, and when pirates tried to take over the ship, we followed orders right away. After the danger passed, the sailor smiled, said nothing, and walked off into the morning. Shadow that story 3 times. Then tell it from your view using I. Then tell it in the past. Then tell it in the future. Finally, make a tiny plan to keep momentum. Pick 2 words per day, place sticky notes where you can see them, and promise yourself 3 minutes of shadowing after brushing your teeth. When you keep a small promise, you trust yourself, and that trust is the real treasure. I'm Emma Lane, This is English Listening Podcast 365, and you have finished the vocabulary voyage with strength and style. Keep an eye out for useful phrases in the wild. Say them out loud right away, and if fear appears, breathe, smile, and take one brave step forward, because your next adventure in English begins the moment you speak. If this story helped your English, share it with a friend or family member right now. Hit subscribe to English Listening Podcast 365 and turn on notifications so you never miss the next adventure. Drop a quick comment with your favorite new phrase. Give this episode a like. And keep practicing with me. Your fluency grows every time you listen and speak.